Did you know that because of Psalm 91, early Christians didn't look at Satan as the grand architect of evil, but as kind of foolish and a downright idiot when facing Jesus? So we all know the powerful scene where Satan tempts Jesus in the wilderness, right? Testing Jesus in his identity. But ancient readers of the text may have gotten a whole different idea about Satan from this interaction that us moderns, we completely miss. And it all boils down to Satan's use of Psalm 91 during the temptation, a strategic error early Christians would have picked up on immediately. Even non-Christians know Psalm 91. It has the epic line, "He that dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty." Psalm 91's been around a long time. By the 6th through the 4th centuries BC, Psalm 91 was commonly recited to drive off evil spirits. And by the 3rd to 7th centuries AD, it was inscribed onto protective amulets for both Jews and Christians. When the Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered in 1947, there Psalm 91 was, considered one of the 4 psalms against demons used for exorcisms. Basically, Psalm 91 has been in use for a long time. But did you know that our version of Psalm 91 differs slightly from the version of Psalm 91 of Jesus' day? So during Jesus' time in Israel, the primary languages were Aramaic, Hebrew, Greek, and Latin. Aramaic was the norm among common Jews. Hebrew was used by the elite for religious texts and rituals, and Greek was the primary language of the Eastern Mediterranean region, widely spoken and understood, especially among travelers, business owners, the educated, and Gentiles. Hence the reason why when the New Testament letters were written, when the Gospels were written, Greek, 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 Greek. As discussed before, it is a verifiable fact that the earliest New Testament writers based their understanding of the Old Testament on the Septuagint, a Greek translation of the Hebrew Bible that was in wide use throughout the Mediterranean world. In its initial rendering, whether it's from Moses' day, David's day, or a later writer's day, what we call Psalm 91 was about not fearing violent enemies, pestilences, or disasters, because we are with God. You shall not fear the terror of night, nor the arrow that flies by day, nor the pestilence that stalks in the darkness, or of the destruction that wastes at noon. And that's Psalm 91, 5-6. But in the 3rd to 2nd centuries BC, when the Hebrew scriptures were translated to Greek, the Greek translators saw reference to demonic forces. And it's not because Greek translators were trying to steer the conversation a certain way. It was a simple assumption to make because vowels weren't included in the ancient Hebrew texts. So depending on what vowels were attached, the word pestilence and destruction could also be translated as thing or evil spirit. And the Greek translators, when it came to choosing between 2 different meanings, well, this is the same verse in the Septuagint. Thou shalt not be afraid of terror by night, nor of the arrow flying by day, nor of the evil thing that walks in darkness, nor of calamity and the evil spirit at noonday. Now, of course, our Bible's Old Testament nowadays is based off the Masoretic version of the Hebrew Bible created through the 6th through 10th centuries. But the original writers of the New Testament wrote in Greek, writing off a Greek text, the Septuagint. And Psalm 91 this way was their understanding of the text. So when Satan tempts Jesus in Matthew 4, 5-6, saying, "Hey, if you're the Son of God, jump on down, because it's written, he will command his angels concerning you, and on their hands they will bear you up, lest you strike your foot against a stone," which is from Psalm 91, by the way, Jesus immediately fires back with Deuteronomy 6:16. Again, it's written, "You shall not put the Lord your God to the test." That's Matthew 4:7. But Jesus knows all about Psalm 91. He knows the intent of Psalm 91, and that in context, Psalm 91 is about God's promise of his protection to those who make God their dwelling place. But 1st through 4th century Christians who based their understanding of the Hebrew Bible off the Septuagint would have also known that the very words from Psalm 91 that Satan is referencing were from a potent prayer that guarded against forces of darkness. They would have seen that Satan is quoting from a prayer that was commonly used to disempower himself. Literally, Satan could have picked out a verse from anywhere, and he cherry-picked lines from a prayer designed to drive him away. In Matthew 4, to those familiar with the Septuagint, Satan isn't coming across as a grand master and architect of evil. He's coming across as a bumbling idiot when confronting the Son of God. This isn't a cosmic battle of wits. This is showing Satan playing into Jesus' hands and being defeated from the start, called out at his own game of twisting Scripture, as if Jesus had anything to fear from such an inferior opponent. Quite likely, ancient readers probably would have had a little chuckle when reading this. So what's the lesson? Number 1, Christians should never empower a disempowered devil. Number 2, don't cherry pick verses, especially when it's going against the context of what you're pulling from. Get your butt in trouble. And 3, studying Bible history in light of culture and translation reveals so much crazy stuff about faith and belief, and it's a bit of fun. God bless. See you soon.